Before I get into today's episode about Joe Burrow, I just want to let you guys know that today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. So, SeatGeek, if you don't know what it is, it's a great place to get tickets to sporting events such as college or NFL games. You can also get concerts there. And basically, it's a third party app, which means that you can get the lowest prices there, and also you can save $20 off your first purchase if you use the promo code JKS. That's all you have to do. Promo code JKS for Jackson Cougar Sports. You will save $20 off, and that's all you have to do. So if you're interested, the link is in the description below. And anyways, back to your regularly scheduled video about Joe Burrow. If you want to have some fun talking about football and watching tape, there's few better examples, probably no better example in college football right now than Joe Burrow. I mean, what he is doing this season, it's unreal, and we're going to have some fun talking about it because especially what he was able to do against that Oklahoma defense, I mean, it was surgical, and it was almost boring at times how dominant he is. He's so good it becomes boring. It's very unusual. It's very, very unique that someone is able to do that kind of thing, but that's kind of the case with Burrow. It's just so seamless for him. He's able to make all these throws look so easy. He makes his reads so quickly. I am very high on Joe Burrow coming into this draft. I think not only should he be the first overall pick, but I think teams should be trying to see if they could trade to get the first overall pick because he is just at that high of a level. I think this guy is fantastic. And let's just get into how he was able to really just completely tear apart that Oklahoma defense. I mean, it was a thing of beauty, honestly. We'll start things off with this play. This kind of would be a great just play to explain what he was able to do just throughout the entire game, essentially, where it's going to be man coverage. And so for Burrow, he's basically just going to look over and try to see if he can find a route that he likes the best. Whatever route that he likes the best, that's where he's going to try to throw the ball to. And admittedly, Oklahoma is actually doing a somewhat decent job of trying to sell as though maybe this isn't what they're doing. I mean, if you look at where they're lined up as though you don't really know exactly who they could be going up against. You don't know where they could be covering. But what's actually going to happen is that since LSU's tight end is going to be running that route right there, it's a route that Burrow likes, and after the ball is snapped, he is going to look in that direction. And so that's what happens, and he looks at his tight end who is open, and also there's another LSU player who is open. So for Burrow, he kind of has two separate options, and he could choose whichever guy he wants to throw the ball to, and it would probably work out. But really, the key reason he should throw it to the guy on the left is because of what the safety is doing right there. Since he's crashing over to the right side of the field, this now lets Burrow know that it's going to be a one-on-one matchup on the left side. So even though both of his intended receivers are open, and he probably could throw a touchdown to either one, he's now giving himself a better chance by throwing it to the one where the safety is running in the opposite direction. That's exactly what happens. It's really just a perfect throw. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that, and it results in a touchdown. And that's just what Burrow does. That's just what Burrow does consistently. And it's the reason why he won the Heisman. It's the reason why he's going to go first overall. And it's the reason why they were able to completely blow the brakes off of Oklahoma. Although it should be mentioned that it wasn't just LSU being dominant. While that was absolutely a part of it, Oklahoma made their mistakes. But I also thought that LSU did a great job of capitalizing on their mistakes. Like, on this play, it's going to be a cover 3 zone. And for LSU, their two receivers on the top half of the screen will be running those two routes right there. So the number 1 receiver is running a curl route, and the number 2 receiver, he's just running deep. So actually, what's really going to be key here is that Oklahoma player right over there, because it looks like he just got a little bit confused here. Since this is a cover 3, his job is to make sure that he stays as far deep and as far to the outside as possible. That's usually what you do in this situation. I believe it was him that screwed up, because as you look just a couple steps further deep, he is still staying right there. He's still making sure that he stays with his man that he was lined up with, which does make some sense, except for the fact that this isn't man coverage, this is zone coverage. You have to make sure that you stay deeper than any other player who's running in that area. So if this was man, this is actually great coverage, which is why I think maybe he just got a cross up and thought that it was something else, because if you look at what's going on right over there, there's going to be an LSU player that is just wide open, because it's basically just a break in coverage. But also, if you look over at Burrow, he's already making this throw. He gets it there instantly and puts it in a great spot where his receiver can make the catch on the run and continue running for more yards. Really just a perfect throw. Great job of realizing that Oklahoma did make a mistake and getting there quickly. Also a mistake from Oklahoma. That part is definitely fair, but at the same time, what do you do when your opponent makes a mistake? You have to take advantage. That's basically what football is taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes. And the best teams aren't the ones that don't make mistakes. The best teams are the ones that capitalize on opponents' mistakes, and that's what Burrow has done all season. It's what he especially did really well against Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl. I also think a huge way that Burrow was able to be so effective was the fact that LSU's running game was working. There's no doubt about it. Oklahoma was fearing the run game. This one's a good example where there's going to be a double team and then also a one-on-one matchup. The right tackle has a one-on-one matchup, and then the center and the right guard will both then double team an interior lineman, and then the guard will move up to block a linebacker. So relatively basic blocking concept, but it's going to be pulled off fantastically well. I mean, really just watch this double team. Watch how that Oklahoma player, he just has no chance. He's on the ground right now. This is just too easy, and with the guard and tackle easily in position to make their blocks, their tackle actually isn't even making a great block, but it doesn't matter because how successful they were in moving that double team over. I mean, that's great football right there, and they're able to pick up a first down just like that. So, good blocking, that always helps in football. But really what also helps is once you get that good blocking and are able to get good runs, it just opens up so much more, and this next play is just a perfect example of that. Oklahoma is playing man coverage, which is, okay, pretty smart decision here, but for LSU, they're going to have a play action, and then they're going to try to hit that receiver right over there, running a curl route right near the first down marker. Hopefully you get the first down. If not, maybe it'll be a 3rd down and 1, but you feel pretty confident you can convert a 3rd down and 1, and especially at midfield, maybe you could go for it. So that's the idea behind this play, and it makes some sense. But because the running game is working, defenses are wary of a potential run, and if you look right after the ball is snapped, just look at how much separation there is, just because you do have to play a little bit further deep. The linebackers are moved in because they're aware of a potential run, and now those guys are playing deep because they're aware of a potential deep pass. So since everybody is out of position right now, this is just going to make this too easy for Burrow, and he's easily able to make that throw. I mean, this is a guy who was already making 50-yard bombs look easy, so when you give him that big of a window, I mean, it's just too easy for Burrow, and the fact that this LSU offense is able to do things like that so consistently, it's what's made them unstoppable all year, and it's the reason why they're going to be playing for a championship. The reality is, as great as Burrow is, he's really not the guy you have to make things easier for, but when you do make things easier for him, he can really thrive, and that's what he was able to do. Like this one, another perfect example, where it's going to be play action since it's at a goal line situation. They just ran the ball a couple times before, and what they're going to do is it's going to be that receiver is going to run out to block an Oklahoma player, and the receiver behind him is going to then run that route right there, and it's going to work out perfectly. Just look at how open he gets. This is just wide open at this point. Oklahoma is expecting a run here. They're totally fooled. And the fact that you can expect a run against a guy who has already thrown 6 touchdowns in a goal line situation really just goes to show how dominant they are as play callers. And also, Oklahoma, kind of get your stuff together a little bit. But also just great work there by LSU, I thought. All game, they called the game well. They executed well. And they played well, and of course it all starts with their Heisman winner, Joe Burrow. He's just fantastic, one of the better players in college football right now, and I think that he is easily going to be a great NFL player for a long time, in my opinion. The fact that this is a guy who had 7 touchdowns and 400-plus yards in the first half of a bowl game, I mean, what more can you ask, really? I don't know. I mean, I guess a national championship, I know that's the focus right now. It seems pretty likely that that's what's going to happen. I mean, either way, I'm putting money on LSU. I don't care what the line is because they've been beating the line every week. And Burrow has showed up every moment he's had to show up and then some. He's one of the better players in the league. I'll probably do more of a deep dive close to draft and just talk about why I think that he is so effective, but I think in terms of this one game, what they were able to do to Oklahoma, it was just surgical, and they really they made Oklahoma look like they were just some scrub team, which they really aren't. Did they make their mistakes? Absolutely, but LSU capitalized on their mistakes in a huge way, and that's why they're going to the national championship. So yeah, that's what I thought of this game. I thought it was a really fun game, really, well, maybe not the most fun game, but I thought it was fun in terms of just a domination standpoint. Obviously a close game is more fun, but sometimes the blowouts are fun too, honestly. I mean, that's just my opinion though. I'm obviously obsessed with football, which is why I started a YouTube channel about it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.